Hey guys, what's going on? It's Natty B, and I'm here with Nia and the beautiful Nicole.
Hello.
So, we're going to get right to it and start talking about job titles and why it's so. I don't know why it's so a taboo subject when it comes to women having a job title.
You wanna know why? Because titles in general, like job title or whatever, people attach so much weight to it. And it's really people who are seeking some level of power and authority that they probably cannot obtain any other way than being able to have a title that gives them that respect because they don't command it on their own. At least that's just my opinion. Because I personally don't really care about titles. I feel like your work should speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be able to, your own merit is what should elevate you to a certain level, not just because you decided that you should be revered, then that means everyone should do so. And I feel like that's why titles matter so much. So,
Yeah, and I don't care what your title is, cut me the check. Like, you can
That
call me
part.
whatever.
That part.
You can call me
That
whatever you want to call me. I get called all types of things anyway. So, as long as I am getting my check, that's all I really care about. So,
well, but you know what? What I will say is, as I advanced in my career into a leadership position, um, I do feel like there's certain expectations that come with titles also. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the short way of saying to someone, introducing to someone what they can expect from you. Like when you meet someone, like there's a certain expectation of the CEO of a company.
mm, mm.
Like you expect certain things because this is the chief executive officer. He could be dumb as a box of rocks, which I've actually seen in real life. However, because he has said title, he is looked at, respected, and assumed, right, to have a certain level of education, to have a certain skill set, simply because he carries that title. But what if he just happened to be the other guy in the room when the person who started that company decided to start the company? Like
Well,
right now, I have companies, right? 90 you're chief of marketing. Here we go. Boom. Nicole, you're our chief creative officer. All right.
is that a thing?
Now
I
that you
feel
have a
like you just
title,
pacified me with the title. Don't feel like you're like, I don't know what she can do, so let's be creative.
right. I
and
agree with you. No, I agree with you. With titles comes certain expectations, like the title of being a mom. All of a sudden, you're expected
you
to.
gotta feed the kids that you birth.
Right.
Like,
You
I
got to
mean,
feed
what
the
is that
kid.
about?
You got to feed the
No, no,
kids.
that
You
is a
got to.
reasonable expectation. I'm not saying you have to cook the food, but you should make sure that there's food for the kids to eat. That is like mom
Yeah, that was a
101.
horrible example, Nia. You have to feed your kids.
I
You
was
definitely have to feed your
joking.
kids.
Like, what
But
was
there
that
are
about?
expectations. And we talked about this before when you become a mom, that's like the end all be all. And that
Right.
is, we're so much more
Not
than
true.
that. So you're
Yeah.
right. There is a certain level of expectation. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I thought we lost you, Nicole.
Mm,
There
still
is a
here.
level of expectation,
Mm.
but I don't know why I feel like when a man's a CEO, it's like, oh, everybody starts high fiving him and whatever. But when you say, a vice president of a company is a woman or a CEO of a company is a woman, everyone kind of like, well, how can she do that? How can
Right.
she be a mom and a CEO and a wife? Like,
Or
why
they
is she
don't ask
missing her
how, they
kids'
just,
games?
they just assume. Exactly. They don't ask how is she doing it. They just assume that she's like, well, she's got to be sacrificing the kids because there's no way she's
Right.
a CEO and a good mom. Like, man.
Right. Like why why is it okay for a man to travel for work trips, but it's not okay for a woman? All of a sudden you're freaking this chick
it's,
from The Handmaid's Tale.
it's, it's I think it's because like the expectation. Again, back to the titles, like the expectation of a man in the parental role is not as much as the expectation of the woman. So you're like, given if the man's list is 10 things long and the woman's list is 100, well, they're like, well, there's no way she could have time to handle her 100 and handle the 100 at the office as well. Like something's gonna have to give. So either she's a crappy
Right.
CEO or she's a crappy mom. There's no way that she can have
Right.
that balance.
Right. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to
It's
hear. So we talked the other day, and you went to the dispensary
our favorite place.
I did. I did.
again. Mom shamers, bring it.
Hey, this is why my children are still alive, okay? And it is a prescription. So this is my medicine.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, so I was at the dispensary the other day, and normally you can get in and get out, right? But on like Fridays or close to
Yeah,
the
everybody's
weekend,
getting paid. The
I didn't even think about that.
yes, you don't go to those places on a Friday. Just like you don't go to the nail
Oh,
salon on a Friday. You're
well,
just
yeah, I
there
don't.
for hours. Everyone's trying to get their,
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in that
If you're
spot,
gonna go
but
on a Friday, you better go when it opens. If it opens at 9 o'clock, you need to be there at 8:45 to make sure you're walking through the door. I've done it. I got in and I got out because nobody else was there.
because they were working, getting
Exactly.
ready.
not not out buying cannabis. Oh, okay.
Whatever.
So anyway, I'm there and it's busy, so I have to wait in the little lobby area, and it's a very small lobby area because it looks like
Pause.
a doctor's
Is it
office.
like spread out? Like, is there like 6 feet of separation, or is it just like a doctor's office lobby?
They are definitely not complying with COVID regulations.
That's because those regulations are basically null and void at this point. Nobody is complying
Well,
by
no,
the
no,
six
no.
feet.
So wait, I won't say that. I won't say that because they do have signs everywhere, and you do have to wear a mask inside the office. And the way they do it is the lobby area is very small, so it's probably got enough space for two people to be 6 feet apart, and then there's a desk that the person that takes you in sits behind. So if it gets to be more than two people in the lobby, they will ask you to wait outside, but they only allow two people inside as well to be able to be serviced. So, like I said, it's very small, can get crowded very quickly. So, anyway, now I'm forced to sit here in the lobby and talk to the guy who sits behind the desk. I did have on some shorts. I believe
Short,
this
short.
may or may not be important
She had them
contextual
cakes out. She
information.
had them cakes out. He's like, oh, what you do
I
for a living?
Right. So now you're
so
again because
basically
you're a woman. You're opening. You're saying, "Come talk to me because I
I
have on
didn't. No,
shorts."
I wasn't. I just needed to run to the dispensary real quick, and I had shorts on. But anyways, so he was like, "So what you got planned for today?" I was like, "Work. That's it." I was hoping that would kind of give the indication like I'm not really in the mood to chat.
No.
No, it didn't. So he was like, "Oh yeah, well yeah, I'm working too."
You know, hey,
Right. I
I came to see
see
you.
you. Okay.
You
All
checked
right. I
me
said,
in. I'm just waiting.
so I was like, yeah, just trying to get here and get something to make the day go faster. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm high right now.
Oh
I was
wow.
like, for a second, I wanted to be like, can you say that? Like,
Yeah, that's why you have your card because
it's the
you're not going to
no,
a
hold
smoke
on, whoa,
shop.
whoa, whoa,
Look.
whoa,
Just
whoa.
because you
Reel
work
that
at the
back
liquor store
in.
don't mean you can be drunk while you at work.
but
It
that.
depends on what liquor
No,
store you
it
go
does not
to.
depend.
Yes,
You
it
what?
does.
You are
If
not
you go
allowed
to
to
That's
the
all
say
right.
liquor
that.
That's all right.
store,
I want to go to that guy. That's high. I need the fat sack, sir. I need you to mess my numbers up or something. Go ahead and fat the sack for me, baby. You can be as high as you want to be, long as my money right.
Oh my
I
gosh.
have been
She
to the
said, well,
liquor
it
store
depends.
on
Just because you went
Hillsboro.
to a liquor store and someone was drunk does not mean it's okay.
Whoa, did they work there?
Yes.
Yeah, they probably would have got fired if they're like, "Oh, there's some." I'm pretty sure
Why
that's
though?
against the
Why? Like
rules.
what? Why? That's. I mean, People
I
go
so
places
love
high
this
and drunk all the
that
time.
we are now talking about why is it not okay to be drunk at work?
Because you need to be coherent enough to make sound decisions. How are you going to identify? Because you're not supposed to sell to people who appear intoxicated. How are you going to identify who's intoxicated if you're intoxicated yourself? You're the problem, man.
But I feel like, okay, would you go buy something? Like, let's say that you went to a dispensary and let's say you're a newbie like myself. I've learned a couple things along the way about cannabis. But what if I went there for the first time and the person selling it to me had no clue? Like, wouldn't
Okay,
you?
whoa,
I
whoa, whoa,
didn't.
whoa,
No, no,
whoa.
no.
The
I didn't say I
pendulum
don't
is
want you to
swinging too
smoke.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't say I
Listen,
don't want you to smoke.
we're
I just
saying
said you should be
at work.
high right now. He said I'm high
At
right
work.
now.
He said, I'm high at work. That's what he said. Let me
And I
translate. He said,
Right.
feel
I'm
like,
high at work.
Right.
Like,
Whoa. Like that's one thing. It's like you could have been like, I tried this last night
right,
and it was
right, right, right.
great. I was
Right,
zooty booty. I
right.
was on 10. You know what I'm saying? This is what I want. This
They
is what
do
I
that
need.
all the time. They make
Now,
recommendations. They say
there
the
you
other
go.
day. They say this morning.
Yeah,
right.
because
Never do they
somebody
say
told them.
right now. Mm-hmm.
I have so many
While I'm
questions
at
because
work,
what time of day was this?
like 11:30
Right,
a.m. Okay,
right.
All right, well, what we're not going to
pre-lunch.
do is judge what time he was high because
I'm the one that's sticking up for my man. He works at a dispensary, which he's really proud of, and he's a little extra happy.
I'll be
So,
honest. Like if it was enough to cover all my bills, like this, I would work at a dispensary for sure. Like I need this job
which for the record,
because, especially if
they
I can be
do
high right
not
now.
they do not provide a medical marijuana card to their workers, which I find odd.
No,
Like,
because
wouldn't
you
that?
have to
Probably because
qualify.
we know nothing's wrong
Hello.
with you. Yeah, there's like
I just want to say that apparently I am for human rights. That's what happens when you stay in Florida
That's
too
what you think
long.
this is?
You just
Human
start,
rights?
you
Being
start
high
making
and drunk at
excuses for
work is
I could
everyone.
human
imagine
rights
that's a
now?
conflict of interest though, because if I know that he's
Right.
using medicinal marijuana, what is this? You heard of don't get high on your own supply? I mean, it usually applies to crack, but if I'm trying to make a profit, I don't want you smoking up all my profit either. I need to
I don't
know that
know. I
you
That
are
was just very
paying.
surprising to me. They do give a discount. They do give a discount to their employees because I
I
asked.
definitely asked. So did
Yeah,
I.
I
So look.
asked. And they do help you get a card. Like they give you money, kind of like a discount towards getting a card.
Oh, well, then
Okay,
they
so listen,
basically
you
do
live in
help you
another
get a
state.
card.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 excuse me. Don't be throwing out perks that you get for living down there in the Sunshine State, okay?
Well, we
Because we
don't
don't
actually
have
know
none
the
of that.
perks. How do you know
Yeah,
that they
Have
don't
you
do that?
seen
because I
have you
have a
seen our
medicinal card.
governor?
But you don't
Our
work at a
governor doesn't
dispensary.
give a shit.
No, what I know is that they don't help you either. Like I said, just because you work at the dispensary doesn't mean that you qualify
No,
according to
that's
the
true.
state's
But if you
laws
do
for a
qualify,
card. Again, your job has nothing to do with it. And the only
okay,
thing they could
okay.
help you with is telling you what doctor to go see so that they can assess you and then give you a card.
Yeah,
Not
go
with the
Right.
see
wink.
my man's
Not with,
over
did you see, did
here.
any,
I
excuse
saw the
me,
wink because I
can we
saw when
run
she
the
picked up the
tape
phone.
back?
I'm gonna
Did
recommend
you
the doctor that
see?
I know is gonna help you get that card.
Okay.
Not my man over here. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to say that for our listeners, there are Dr. MJ and friends are all over Groupon, and you can get your card for the price of $50.
I
Just
told
in
you to
case
stop doing
anybody's
free
interested.
advertising. People need to pay for these spots.
Hey, you got to start
It
somewhere.
just honestly, it intrigues me. First of all, I thought, okay, you go to this place and everyone there is friendly with the product. So I assumed, and that's
They're all
my
hot.
fault for assuming, I assumed that everybody had their card, but that is not the case. Even from like the bud
Mm-mm.
pickers to the person that checks you out at the store, you do not have to have your card to work with it, which I don't know. That's really odd to me. But anywho,
But
let's go
I can
back
imagine it's
to
because it's so regulated.
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why that surprised me, but it did. And I am the one that went for the first time and I asked all these questions that had nothing to do with what I was doing there. I was just
He's
like,
like,
"Do
are you
you
gonna
like
buy something
working
or not?
here?"
Like,
Right.
are you undercover? Are you undercover?
Right.
You
Right.
trying to set me up?
Right. You a
Mm.
narc?
I was
Let
like,
me
"How do
see.
Not
you
right.
like working here? What are the benefits? What do you have
Hey,
your
somebody
card?"
else come check her in. Hold on 1 second, ma'am. Let me get my manager for you. I don't know who she is. She's definitely a
I
fed.
don't trust it.
So
I don't
I'm
trust
not
it.
talking to her. Somebody else go out there. Not doing it.
Not funny.
Okay, so take me back to this lobby with this man that was high.
So at work. So I'm sitting there trying not to really talk to him, but he's trying to like make small talk. So he finally says, "What do you do?" And I kind of was caught off guard because like we talked about, I think either last episode or the first episode, all of the various projects that I'm doing right now. And technically I'm an entrepreneur because I own my own businesses. I don't work for anyone else. But I didn't know how to answer the question.
I'm a boss ass bitch, 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 bitch.
That's what my sister says. So I finally said, I'm an accountant, thinking that that might be like, he'd be like, oh. And sure enough, he was like, oh, well, all right, you enjoy the rest of your day.
He was probably like, "You're too smart for me. I don't want
Right.
to."
I
I was so, again, with the titles, right? So I didn't know what to say initially because I don't, outside of entrepreneur, which really still doesn't, I feel like that is so ambiguous to say as a response to someone when they're like, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh, so you just start businesses? All right. Like
Yes.
it, I mean, though it may be accurate and though that may be true, you want to give more than that, right? You want to tell people a little bit more because as an entrepreneur, you want to sell your brand
you want to self
always.
promote,
And
right? You want to self promote
right.
yourself.
So, but I suck at self promotion.
She does.
That's why
Because
you
It's
have us.
fine.
not that
But
she's
I think
seeing
we
like an
all do.
intervention. She does. It's bad.
I mean,
This
I
is
kind of suck at
why
it too, but
this is why you have your tribe though, because I feel like I have no problem self promoting myself to the right people, to the right audience.
right.
Like I'm not going to tell everybody my business, but there's a lot of people, for example, now that work with me at the office and they have zero clue that I do eyelashes or hair or whatever the case may be because I feel like that's on a need to know basis cuz
Because you don't
you
want to
know,
do their
not every
lashes.
exactly.
I don't like you how it's gonna ask me because it's gonna be awkward when I get
Right.
ready.
Well, and because of my situation right now, I don't go promoting Nicole.
Sorry, I didn't realize that was gonna do
I don't go I don't go promoting my services because I also don't have a space for it right now. You know, like right
that.
now I am this light does not like me today. Right now I don't have a salon. So I'm
Mm.
not going to tell you what I do cuz then you're going to ask me what can you do with my hair and I don't want you in my house. So we're not about to do that. But I
I'm about
do,
to
you
say.
know, I get that a lot too because in my job, I wear many hats. I have
Mm.
to do payroll, I have to do HR, I have to, monitor the money and make sure that the bills are paid, etc. And I feel like on top of that, I am creative in the sense that I did makeup for a while, and I did hair, and I do lashes, and I do all the things. And sometimes I feel like people are very judgy when you do all the things. I don't think there's
Oh
wrong with
my
being.
goodness.
I don't
I
think what.
would I would say it's
I
less
mean,
judgy and more jealous
right?
because
Like
they're
I'm not a
judging
basic
you like,
bitch,
there's no way exactly. And they're like, well,
right?
I just go to work and I go home. And it's like, I don't
Yeah, that's
understand.
not
There's
that's
no
not my
way she's
life,
doing all that stuff and doing good. The same way they assume that because your mom can't be a CEO and be a good mom. The same way they're like, there's no way she's doing all those things and crushing it, but watch me.
right?
You know what I'm
Yeah. Like I baked a cake the other day, and everyone was like, "You
Oh my
made that
gosh,
from
it was
scratch?"
beautiful.
saying?
I
Aww.
wanted to like I think I put heart eyes or something, but I should have called you because I was like, Slim, call me when you cut it because that looks amazing.
Right. My
But it
fault
did look
Yeah.
like a
asked.
magazine cake. Like it
Right,
was
because I'm
picture
not,
perfect.
again, right, we're perfectionists in everything that we do for the most part,
Hmm.
which I think is that's one of my character flaws. Sometimes I want too much of perfection.
It is a
There's a
character
such
Mm.
flaw.
thing.
And because I
Yes.
have it too, because it causes paralysis, honestly.
Right.
Because you sometimes you set a standard for yourself so high because you're a perfectionist that if you have trouble, if you don't reach it right away or you feel like you can't necessarily like I want it to look like this, so I'm not going to even hop out there until it does. Okay, but how do you grow to that if you
Right.
don't hop out there?
Right.
So
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
that's the lesson I'm learning right now. Is like you are a perfectionist. Yes, you're looking at all these Instagrams that have beautiful content and have all of these things that you aspire to, but like they started somewhere, but you don't get to see the progress or the process. And
Right.
so when you're judging yourself as a beginner against an expert, that's not a fair judgment.
Right.
And that's what I
Right.
had to realize. Like, girl, just go. Because you're paralyzing yourself and you're not going to move. You're going to be stuck where you're at if you don't just hop out there. So
And I feel like we live in our society right now. You have to have some type of side hustle.
I
Like,
got two,
who
three
can
bags.
afford to live? Right. Who can afford to live nowadays, really? Like, gas is ridiculous. Groceries, we won't even get started. I think I spent like 150 out, like Walmart. I could do Walmart delivery. I probably had 7 bags of stuff. So I think that everyone needs a side hustle, but from the beginning of time with man and woman, the woman used to stay at home while the man went
Mm-hmm.
out and did whatever. I don't necessarily think that we've moved completely away from that. And I also feel like sometimes men want you to do all the stay at home stuff, but my
Still
man,
work
I
and bring money in
provide,
the house.
right? Like, I provide a whole slew of things into this house that's not just my pretty face and, walking around being Consuela all day, cleaning up
Exactly.
after people. So,
Yeah. I had to retire Consuela.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Yeah. I literally did. I used to walk around on Saturday morning with my hair wrapped up. One day, we'll have my nephew on the show, and he'll tell you what it was like every Saturday morning with, "Hello, buenos dias, let's go, Consuela's here. It's time to clean up."
You're a hot mess.
He'd be like, "Oh my God, auntie."
right. But that is,
Yeah.
I think we got to do a better job at letting go of that. I love the word paralyzed, Nicole. Like, we allow society to paralyze us for real. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have moments where I'm like, am I doing too much? And I've been told by a few people that are very close to me, and we won't say any names, but if I remove one little task off my hands, like off my hectic schedule, I tend to replace it with another task. And it's bad. I have an issue. I have an issue, but I feel like every second of the day, I do have downtime. In the mornings, I get
I'm
up
the same.
and I set my alarm clock very early because I want to get up. I want to lay in my bed for a little bit. I go make my coffee, then I watch SVU because in my past life I was an FBI agent. And then I have my routine before getting out the door. And sometimes I'm late to stuff and I'm like, damn, there is zero excuse for that because I've been up since 6 a.m. and I have to be there at 9. So I am guilty of that. I'm guilty of just wanting to consume and kind of do my many talents, which is why, Nia, we've been trying to do this podcast for a long time. And it was always a time thing. Well, for me, it's like I'm going to be 36 this year. Time is flying by. Like you either do it or
You
you
gotta
don't
make the
do it,
time.
but right, you have to make the time. But I feel like society
Mhm.
does paralyze us and wants you to be good at one thing, especially hating ass women
Oh,
who
the word. The word.
hating ass women. And yes, this is a podcast to empower women, but we must point
So
out that
don't be a
not
hating ass woman. Like that's
right,
all we're saying.
right,
Don't be a fucking
right,
hater.
right. Love each other. I personally the best compliments are always from women. Like you get
Hmm.
a compliment from a woman, you are like, oh, like
That's
wow. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Go ahead. Say that again because we lost you.
oh, sorry, my phone rang. I said I can't handle. I was like, my thing is, I know I really did that. If a woman gives me a compliment, oh, I did that because I know it took a lot for her to hop about that bubble and humble herself and be like, girl, you did that, and I don't understand why it's so hard, but
Yeah.
it's like it hurts
No,
them to
I
the
I was gonna
agree.
say
core.
it's not hard for
It's not
me.
hard for
I
me, and it's not. I ain't gonna say that for every woman because I have had a lot of people like just be like, cheer me on that never don't know me, never even been around me, nothing like that. But then I've had people the other side, so just don't
No,
be the other
yeah.
side.
I on from a social media first from a social media standpoint, I've gotten a lot of praise from women, and then I haven't really experienced like hateful comments, but I see that a lot and I'm like, you don't even know these people. Like these
Right.
people are hopping themselves out there to build this content or to show you their workout. Or I saw this like brief video of a girl who had lost like 100 pounds, and she started posting her journey from the beginning. And the caption on the video that caught my eye was, "Here I go posting again." And then she was like, I know nobody cares, but this is why. And she like kind of shows like her progression and her weight loss journey. And then I see women with banging ass bodies who, are blessed enough to, I feel like, be in a financial position where they have whatever people catering to their every need and they're able to work out like a beast at the gym. And then women commenting on their one little eyebrow hair that's out of place or their one little stretch mark. And that's like, why do we do that? Why can't we all be happy for each other's
Each
hustle?
other. Right. Well, because they can't be happy for your hustle if they're miserable in their own lives. Like my thing is, you made a decision to suck, so just be in that and don't bring your sucky shit over here to me. Like you don't have to hate me because I made a decision to shine. Like you made your
She
choices and I
said
made my
you
choices.
made
I'm
a
not judging you
choice
for
to
sucking.
suck.
I don't. I just because in that moment when you're sitting here and you're miserable in your shit and like I understand like I have been. I will never understand that because I have been down. I have been. Hell, I'm like constantly going, in a reset cycle. It feels like, and when I'm down, I've never felt the need to kick another person. I
Yeah.
retreat,
I
I
honestly
repair,
I
and then
feel
I
like
come
that's why
back.
we
Like,
all
why are
get
you out
along.
here?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's why we all get along is because I've never been that person either. I may make a comment like, I don't know if I'm feeling her outfit or whatever, but to take the time out of your day
To
to
comment.
comment something hateful towards another person who's out here trying to
It's
make it,
exactly.
it is beyond me. Like, you literally have chosen to get up today and to be just a shitty ass human. Like, just be
Exactly.
kind.
Like that's what like yeah, but that's why you
What
said
happened to
because
the saying? What happened to the saying? If you don't got anything nice to say,
it's like
don't
don't say
say
anything at all.
anything.
You know, I feel like this
Like,
is a
what happened to
People
rebellion. This
that
is
started
saying?
screaming about free speech and all
yeah,
that
they've been
stuff.
screaming that from the jump. This is an active rebellion. Everyone who was told that if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all, got pissed in that moment and decided when I become an adult and I can make my own decisions, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna shit on everybody I can when I get a chance. It's like, whoa, whoa, buddy. You didn't have to go this far. You could have just, you know,
Right.
figured out why you were mad, maybe. A little therapy. We all need it, you know? Just go. Some people need it more than others. You know, some people are in a constant state of crisis, but some of us just need to go into just stay level, just, you know, so that you can be checked every now and then. Hey, hey, you're being a shitty human.
Right.
Come on back. Come
You
on
know,
back.
I have moments.
Somebody put
I
that on a shirt.
Right.
Hey, you're being a shitty human.
Come
I would
back to
wear
the
it.
light.
A top
Yes,
seller.
on the back it
Maybe
says
that
"Come
should
back to the
be
light."
maybe that should be our first shirt and we can start
Yes,
selling those. I think that's a great
yes.
I like
idea.
it. I like it.
I
Hey,
agree. I think
you're being a shitty
sometimes you
human.
gotta like reel your ass in. I do it. Sometimes I am being a shitty person. And I gotta remind myself not only not to be shitty, but one of the biggest things that I try to work and it is on a daily basis, is not taking out my shit on other people. Like when I walk into the office, at whatever outside noise there is, whether Ariana pissed me off or Ryan and I aren't seeing eye to eye or whatever. Like for me, I'm gonna go to work and I'm not gonna take it out on anybody else because those people have nothing to do with what's going on in my personal life. And I
If
think
Yeah,
anything,
but
I use work as my time away. Like this bullshit is happening at home. So I'm gonna make sure that my day doesn't suck in two places. Okay. So home sucks right now. So work's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna come into work and I'm not gonna let anybody
I
fuck up
agree.
my day because I refuse to suck at two things at the same time. I just can't.
Nicole, you're making me spill my drink over here. Look at that. Looking like a toddler.
Don't make me spill my
Made me
yak.
drink my drink.
well, I think when we were talking earlier about titles, and I was thinking of when I was progressing professionally, I would always hear the term that shit rolls downhill. And it was almost as if you try to get as high as you can
To
up
avoid the
so that
shit.
you can,
So you can be a pusher and not a catcher, you know? I don't want to catch the shit. Let me just push it.
and people like literally they are that way professionally. Something comes down that is some shit, it's stupid, it doesn't make sense, it's a terrible process, and they're like, oh, well, at least I don't have to do it, and they continue to pass it on. And I was not that person. Like, I made it a point to not be that person, but again, it's like people attach the idea of authority and being able to make changes and delegate like that with said title. Like, you know what? If I can just become a manager, then I don't have to do this shitty part right here, like clean this toilet. Once I'm a manager, no more cleaning toilets for me, buddy. But just because you're a manager doesn't mean that you shouldn't
Newsflash,
clean
you
the
probably
toilet.
will have to clean the toilet one day. Like that is
Yeah, because you
I
know those people that you shit on all the time, they call out of work because they don't have any loyalty whatsoever. So, yeah. I
so
mean,
now not
that's
only
just the
are
way
you
it goes.
pushing the shit up the hill, but you do have to get your hands into some shit. Management is not
Yes.
exempt from that. let's talk about why
No.
are people afraid of titles?
Again, the
Like in a
expectations.
relationship, for example. In a relationship, why do
The
you think
expectations.
That part.
If you are now my girlfriend or boyfriend, there should I have to do, whether I want to do it or not, because you are mine, or we said we're in a relationship. Now I gotta get up and cook your ass something to eat when you say you're hungry. If we're not in a relationship and we don't
Or
have any titles,
or we could just go get some food. Cause why the fuck I gotta cook it? You hungry? Shit, I could eat. And you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. You're hungry, I could eat. So let's just go get some food. Like I feel like that's true partnership. Like, hey babe, I'm hungry. Do you feel like cooking? I should have the option to be like, yeah, babe, I'll go cook you something to eat.
1000%.
Or if you don't feel like cooking, hey babe, I don't feel like cooking, so let's order some shit.
Right.
I
No,
mean, I could always say that.
I think, do you feel like, because I've been in situations where I've kind of put the expectations, up front, and I'm not necessarily talking about a romantic relationship, but you kind of put the expectations up front and people seem to forget. Like,
Well, if you
well,
put the expectations out there, you have to then honor what you say. So if you said, hey, I don't want to cook all the time, but then you keep getting your ass up to cook all the time, how can you expect him to be
but
like
that doesn't change.
copacetic
That
if
doesn't change
Here's
my
the thing: I never said
expectation.
it. And I never said I didn't want to cook all the time. Like at the end of the day, it's again going back to that, and the titles affect both ways, right? When you have a title of any kind, it
hmm
means something
there's a
to you, the person
responsibility?
that
Yeah.
carries it, and then it also means something to other people, or there is a level of expectation. So that's an internal expectation I have of myself, and that is a, I guess, predetermined agreement we had that says, look, whenever my man is hungry, I'm gonna make sure he eats. That's something that I agree to. But that's when we are in a committed relationship and you are my man. If we're just dating and we're not together or whatever, if you hit me with the I'm hungry, I'll be like, oh wow, I could eat. Thanks for the status update.
I'm
Like,
mad that you say, "Oh wow." Do you
Uh, uh.
feel like I I personally think that I've had to learn that I have to line out like the expectations because not everybody's common sense is the same.
No, because common sense
ah,
really isn't common at all.
It's not. And I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you that your ass has to come to work every day if
Actually,
I
you
hire
did tell
you.
them when you hired them. And you probably gave them an employee handbook that outlined what would happen if they didn't come to work every day. And then they
Which is
still chose
why
not
I
to come to
don't
work every day, and now they're surprised that they
exactly.
don't have a job.
Right. But I feel like everybody wants like instant gratification. Like I was telling Nia this the other day, like these TikTok videos are set up to grasp your attention. Excuse me, within like 2 minutes. That's all you
hmm
got. Two
mhm.
minutes,
And that's a
and
long video.
that exactly that is a big some of these. And I'm not just gonna say kids because I know some grown ass adults who
Live on TikTok.
Out here making TikToks.
Live on TikTok.
I don't understand how when God was passing out job assignments, that nigga got making TikToks and I got the one I got. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love what I do for the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. But dang, I be looking
Well,
at some other people like,
are they making TikToks for the Lord? Or are they just making TikToks? Maybe God
no,
didn't
all
give
right,
them that job.
touche.
like
You call good money there.
I feel like people just take it upon themselves to call
Right.
themselves
They're creative.
influencers.
They're
The
creative. They're not all influencers. Some of them are creative.
contact, right? Contact creator.
So you're never gonna let me live that down that I made you chief creative officer, huh?
You know, I
I'm
would
starting
say
to
that
think
I'm a
that
little
is.
understand.
salty, but I'm not. I'm not. That's literally
I
Because
think
you
that
know I
is
because
a.
they're
didn't
creatives.
know.
The black creatives, it was like a thing. We're boycotting TikTok for a little while because they were creating and people were stealing. That didn't look like them,
Oh,
And then
and
becoming
then blowing it up, and they're
viral.
getting all the
Right.
money, and they're going viral and all this stuff.
Right.
But you didn't invent that.
oh,
So yeah, that's literally because I mean, at the end of the day, they are creating things for our entertainment, and honestly, they have kind of a crap job sometimes because every creative ain't getting paid for all of this creativity. Like all of
right.
them, everybody's trying to just make it. As soon as the market gets flooded, it's like just as hard doing that as it
But
is
you
doing
know what?
anything else.
I was at the salon one day, and this lady came in, and she said her job title, surprisingly, I didn't even catch what it was because I tend not to
Don't
like
care.
people that
Brag.
brag, name droppers, like location. Like I don't give a
Like, where's
shit
the
that you know.
mystery? Like,
Right, I
cool.
don't
Let me find out
care.
later.
I
Like,
just
oh my
why don't
God,
you
you're a
just why don't you
CEO.
just be great? Why don't you just be great? And then later on tell me, "Oh, I went to school here. Oh, I went to whatever. Oh, I know so and so." Like not
How about you
everything
let me
needs to be.
research it on my own?
That part. Because if you're great enough, if you're just out here being great, then I'm gonna want to know who you are and how you got to where you're at, and I'll look it up on my own.
Right. I don't care about. I really just don't care. I want to get to know you. And then if I decide, wow, you're really great, I'm either going to ask because I am very interested, or I am going to look it up or whatever the case may be.
I
But
agree.
I
But I just came to get
I
your
was
nails done,
telling,
so
right. So I'm like listening. She wasn't even my client. I'm listening to her, and she's talking about what she does for this company. I don't even know the company's name. But basically, she brought up a very good point. And, there's like, what is it, 7 billion people in the world? I'm sure that number has gone up, but there's like 7 billion people in the world. And let's just use, I don't know, one of the Kardashians. One of them may have 8 million followers, but there are 7 billion people in the world. So there's someone for everyone. So
exactly.
when I originally was talking to my husband about doing this podcast and kind of like just throwing it out there, talking to random people here and there, they're like, oh, there's so many podcasts out there. Oh, like that's kind of like the old news. And I'm like, well, there's 7 billion people in the world, and I am going to find those
Find your
that
niche.
like what we got to say. We're not
Exactly.
for everyone.
And
We're
who's
not.
like, why can't you? I mean, as far as I know, there are no 24-hour podcasts. So why can't people just listen to more than one podcast? Like, you can
Right.
be successful this
Because
hour,
I think
and
a
the
lot
next
of
hour I can have some shine. Like, I don't understand.
I
Facts.
think a lot I think a lot of podcasts, or what we're trying to do here is, obviously we're trying to build a community. And again, just like I see, people that are not attractive by society standards, or people who live in places that you and I would probably not live in. There's someone for everyone. There really is. Like,
Mhm.
I look at
Mhm.
some couples sometimes and I'm like, who knew?
The
Like,
odd
there's
couple.
really someone for everyone. So
Exactly.
I believe that there is a following out there that you kind of just got to tap into. And you can create your tribe, or you can create followers, or build yourself up as a creative director,
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be. I don't think that,
Chief Creative Officer.
which is a
That's not
very
a
important
fucking
role,
thing.
Nicole.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. You made it up
It is when
right when
she's
you said
making
it.
her own company.
Exactly.
First of all, I don't appreciate you saying that I just made it up.
You did. I will. You know what? Honestly, I don't know. When this is over, I'm gonna Google it and see if anyone else has that title of Chief Creative Officer. It's possible.
Actually,
Look
look
it
it
up
up
right
right
now.
now.
Let's see. How about this? Because let's get down to the nitty gritty.
GTS, baby.
What
Actually,
is
that is a thing. You want to know what
the
the
average
salary is?
income? I want to know what is the average income of a Chief Creative Officer. Look that shit up. Make
You
sure it's not
ready?
just
Because I think you're about to apologize on
I'm not
air.
apologizing for shit.
The
I'm the one that said
national
Google that shit.
average for a chief creative officer is $213.
That's cool. But I can promise you.
$200,000.
So what's the
$200,000.
average for like a, I don't know,
That's
chief
actually a
growth
thing. It's a
officer?
CCO. A chief what?
Like a chief growth officer or a chief financial
That's sales.
officer or
Yeah.
a
Wait. Those are two very different things, and you're about to have a whole lot of different salaries because
we're going off of averages here. My point
is that
for a C-suite position, $200,000
she just
is
said 200 is a good salary.
200 is a really good salary, Nicole.
It's a good salary, but is it a good salary for a C-suite position?
Yes.
Okay.
Listen,
because you worked
you
at
know
a company
what?
that the C-suite made more than
My
that.
husband, my
All
got a few
husband,
C-suites don't
companies,
make.
or you got a few companies where the C-suite made more than that.
my
But they were
husband
very
says
large
all
companies.
the time he would have zero problem being a bench warmer. Go ahead and
Look, if the bench
cash in
warmer
your
makes
$300,000. Right.
$300,000, I warm that bench up. I'll slide up and down that bitch,
Okay.
make sure it's warm for everybody. You know what I'm saying? This bench is nice and hot for everybody. Y'all want to sit down?
Like,
because it's warm.
excuse me? What is it that you do? You sit on the bench the whole game? Sure do.
I sure do. For a good $800,000 a year. Yeah.
Sure do.
I get all
that.
the bottles ready in the locker room when we celebrate afterwards. I make sure everybody's jersey is straight.
No,
you know
that's not the bench warmer's job. The bench warmer warms the bench. You're on the team, baby. You got a jersey and everything. You ain't warming up no. You ain't making no bottles. You're just the least important nigga on the team. The least important.
And
but you're on the
still
team, though.
making more than
But
those.
you're exactly.
Hey,
but you're on the team, and that's all that matters.
Yes. When that check cash,
exactly.
Like, yeah,
it's a lot of broke niggas right now that are really important to a lot of people, but ain't making no goddamn money. And I'm not saying money's everything, but goddamn it, it's a lot.
You know, when I was going to HCC, and this was like pre-Ariana and all that good stuff. When I was going to HCC, there was this lady in my class, and she was Black. And she told me that Peter pays no bills. You cannot take your Peter to Tico and slap it on the counter trying to pay bills. So
now wait a goddamn minute though. Who's behind the desk? Because if you slap it on the right counter, that bitch might wipe your debt away.
I am so done.
Peter,
you gotta slap the right
bills,
desk,
ladies.
Oh my god. We forgot to release a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode that the thoughts and opinions of each individual on the show are simply that, the thoughts and opinions of each individual, and does not represent
the show.
B-side.
Look, we're not gonna name any names, Nia. You're not your name. I'm just saying you know the person that I'm referring to. Said Peter got a lot of bills paid.
All right.
Now, it didn't pay her bills, but it got his bills paid.
There may be a little bit of truth to
it's
what
people
she's
out
saying
here popping
about
Peter
which
right now for the bill.
slapping.
Okay? It's some.
I know
Peter's
some
be popping
people.
just like this too. All I'm saying. They be popping.
I know. I feel like this episode's gonna be played. You remember BET Uncut? I feel like we're gonna release this at nighttime.
It's called BET Plus now. It's on BT Plus now because they got some
I used
HBO
to stay
content on
up
that
so
thing.
late. I used to stay up so late to watch that tip drill video.
What?
Yes. And
Bro,
pull it up on
I was,
YouTube now. Your
you know
eyes
why?
will
Because of
hurt
how
because the
young you were when that
resolution's
shit
so
came out.
horrible.
That
You
video.
got that video is a really good one for the record. But yeah, she told me that Peter does not pay bills. And yes, you're right. It depends on what desk you slap Peter on. But as women, like that, if that's all you're bringing to the table, I'm not interested. You can go sit somewhere else.
All right.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I wait. What?
Well, look, like you said, there's somebody for everybody. There's somebody that don't need no bills paid. They just need some Peter. So he can't
That's
slap it on
I
true.
your
think I
desk.
know a
He
couple of
can't
them.
slap it on your desk, but it's Susan down the street said slap away. Okay. My bills are paid. Where's the Peter? Somebody for everybody.
There is
Sorry.
someone for everyone. And I this
That
has
is
been
why
an
we invited
enlightening
you on the
episode.
show.
Sorry.
Thank you, Nicole, for your insight today on Peter slapping.
Yes,
I feel like I
Peter
offered
slapping. That's like
I
a
thought
new
I offered
thing.
more to this episode than comments on
Than the
Peter,
Peter slapping.
but apparently
Yeah, but that's
You
this is what
definitely do
resonated.
because I now want to be a CCO if I'm making $200,000.
No, I think I would still rather be the CEO because I'm pretty sure the CEO of said company made more than the CCO. And I just want to be the boss ass bitch. Okay.
which brings us back to job titles because when I told my sister about my story at the dispensary, she hopped in before I could respond to the job title question being boss ass bitch. So I have decided
That's her job title.
that's my new job title.
You know what? Uh-huh. We're gonna get you a
I don't
placard.
know how I'm
We'll
gonna
get you a
tell my
placard.
mom though.
I
Mom, I'm
feel
a
like your
BAB.
mom will understand.
Am
I'm a
I supposed to
BAB.
say, "Hey mom, my new job title is boss A word itchy B"?
Or you could just say it and hope that she understands. And then tell her if you don't want to say it, I'll get some business cards made. You can just hand them out to all your friends.
You can be a
Bruh.
BAB. You can be a
A
BAB.
BAB. A BAB. That's the title.
BAB. I am
You
going
just
to
gotta.
order some cards. Yes, I'm ordering business
Why
cards. They're
I
gonna
not?
like
I
it.
think
say
you should change your LinkedIn profile as soon as we get off air.
Okay.
And
Maybe not that. You
she
know
doesn't have to
what?
put the whole word. First of all, her LinkedIn profile is to network her own business. So it's not like you're working for, I don't know, Pfizer or something.
What type of clients are you looking for?
Some
You
real
have to
ones. Some
realize
real
that,
ones.
language can be polarizing. And I don't know if that's the direction you necessarily want to go. Now, look, if
You
somebody
know,
asks you where you can add some context to the title, then it will make some sense. But maybe don't just put it out there for everybody to draw their own conclusions.
I tell Ariana all the time, I'm like, you're a bad bitch. And the first time I told her that, her eyes got so big.
She said,
But
Mommy, did
it's
you just cuss at
because,
me?
right,
no.
right.
She went to school and said my mommy called me a bitch this morning. She said I was a bad bitch.
No, her eyes lit up because she knew exactly what I was talking about. And she
Exactly.
was
She was like,
like,
"Mom, you
okay,
know."
That's what it
right,
is. She was like, You're
yes,
not
your mom
old.
is not that old. Right, I'm not that old. And I
Hmm.
told her, I said, you have to carry yourself like you're a bad bitch. And that means no one fucks around with you. That means that you always protect your sanity, your reputation. You don't do things just because everybody else is doing them. And I think I honestly I think that a BAB is perfectly fine to put in whatever profile because you could be called a lot worse, which I'm sure you have been.
Yeah,
Not to my face.
they took the BA off and just called me the bitch. But you know what's funny? I that was a term that I learned to embrace. Now, are you going to just disrespect me and call me a bitch and think there ain't gonna be no repercussions for your actions? No. But I was okay if you thought it real hard but didn't let it fall out your face. Because I don't care if you think I'm a bitch as long as you fall in line to what needs to be done. Like
Right.
you can think that all
And
you
I
want.
think
I'm just
we're
doing what my
all
counterparts do.
Right.
I have zero problem saying, "Damn, I'm being a bitch today." I am very self-aware and I
Yeah,
know when
yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
being a little
And
extra.
and because of my self awareness, I don't need you to fucking say it. So just understand this. I understand when I might be in that mode, which is why it's a very bad idea for you to hop
She
in
said
there and comment on said mode. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But
she
but
said
earlier you said it was okay to tell people they're being a shitty ass human.
Okay,
I
well, so
think
here's the
those are
thing.
very different words.
Only, yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! So you don't want someone to
Yes.
call you a bitch, but they can call you a shitty ass human? Eh,
Yes.
I feel like it depends on
no,
who it's coming
no.
from because
No one can call
don't
me a
call me
shitty ass human.
nobody call me a bitch. But here's the thing,
Oh,
and the only reason I say that is because if I'm being a bitch, I feel really no desire to fix said behavior. Because chances are I'm only being a bitch because I'm doing something you don't like, and it's not because I'm disrespecting you. It's because you're not getting what you want out of me. So no, I don't care if you think I'm a bitch. But if you feel like I'm being a shitty human, that means I'm doing something really fucked up to like that on a humanity standard. I am doing a shitty thing. I don't want to be that person. So yes, let me know if I am doing something that makes me a shitty human. Now, does that automatically mean I'm going to fix my behavior? No. Does that mean there won't be consequences for you calling me a shitty human in this moment? No. I'm just being honest, you know?
So
I'm
basically,
being
if
real.
anyone is ever going to date Nicole, you cannot call her a shitty human or a
No.
bitch,
What?
even
I,
if she
did that
feels
really have to be
like she
said?
is being.
Did
Yes.
that have to be said?
Again, it does.
I didn't even think that this subject matter was pertaining to significant others because there's no way on God's green earth that you think you're gonna call me a bitch in this relationship and think that's gonna be okay. I just that never even crossed my mind. Like that's
I'm
okay.
not even, but again, that's
they
the
do that?
expectation, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been in relationships where people feel like because we're in a heated argument that they can just pop out the mouth.
So
So
here's the
now,
thing.
right.
I try not to let the arguments get too heated because I'm a physical person. Okay. And so and I try not to be that person either because I do not condone violence in relationships. I don't. And the type of men that I'm typically attracted to, I couldn't beat them up even if I tried. So it's like I use that like reels me back in, like, ooh, I want to punch you in the face, but you know, I don't really know if I push you there, where is this gonna go? I typically feel very safe with every significant
Your
other I've ever
self
had.
awareness is A1 for the record.
I'm just saying. So that typically how this is gonna go, we're gonna have this heated argument. You're gonna call me a bitch, and I'm gonna say you got one more time, and then I'm gonna go get my shit and I'm gonna leave because I don't want this one more time to come because now things have escalated to a point that neither one of us can come
Right.
back from.
Beyond repair.
Exactly,
Beyond
because you
repair,
ain't
for
what you're
sure.
not about to do is I'm not gonna let anybody just disrespect me blatantly. Like now, if you want to disrespect me, you have to sneak and do that shit. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You can do that shit
You
behind
don't
my
have to
back.
be a ninja.
You can do that shit behind my back. But what you're not gonna do is stay here in my face and call me out my name and think this is about to fly. Like this is not going down. This is not who I am. This is not who I am as a person. Don't disrespect my gangster. Don't disrespect who I like. Just don't do that to me. Cause this is just gonna go left. Like I don't know who you're used to dealing with, but I can promise you, I ain't that bitch.
She said,
Even when
"Don't
I'm being a bitch.
disrespect my gangster." Right, right. I don't.
Listen
I'm a
though,
little
I
confused.
agree. I think we've learned a lot of things here today. Um
Thank
And
you
one of
for
them,
joining my TED Talk.
the
Ooh, excuse me.
CCO, has done her TED Talk.
Yes.
Listen, I think that it all goes back to your title and even friendship. Sometimes you got to check your friends, but I
Hmm.
think you got to put the expectations out there. And
Exactly.
if they don't follow your expectations or expectations that they agreed on to follow, then you just got to cut them loose. Whether it's, you know, a romantic relationship, a work relationship, hell, even a relationship with someone who handles your finances or whatever the case may be. Expectations need to be put out on the table from both parties. And if you agree to them, to me, that's like you get one time. You agree to them, and that's it. So if I got
Exactly.
to constantly remind you every 30 days that you agree to these expectations, then we have a problem, which is why a lot of relationships don't last because people feel disrespected or they don't feel heard. And then it's like, who has time to freaking go back in a circle and, like you said, hit the reset button and say, hey,
Hmm.
remember when you
Especially
agreed
if it's
to
the
X, Y,
same
and Z?
circle. Especially if it's the same circle. Now, it's one
Yes.
thing if I have to circle back to our original conversation on a couple different things, because maybe this thing doesn't come up very often. But if this one thing just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up, I feel like a decision has to be
You
made.
got to go.
Either I have to decide to let said thing go so I can be happy, or I could be happier by letting the person go that keeps violating the thing I told them.
No, I agree.
So, what you?
Yeah.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
That's
your
fun.
TED Talk. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
I've been enlightened, empowered, and have laughed enough calories to have another glass of Prosecco here. So,
Hey, we like it.
Nia, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much
Yes.
for listening and stay tuned because there is more to come.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hopefully, I'll be invited.